Hello friends, how are you? In this session, we would study about the life of the Aryans in the later Vedic period. In my earlier session, we studied about the life of Aryans in the Rig Vedic period. The only source for the study of Rig Vedic period was Rig Veda, but in this session, for the study of the life of Aryans in the later Vedic period, the main sources are three other Vedas such as Yajurveda, Samveda and Atharvaveda, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, Upanishads, etc. Three other Vedas by the name of Yajurveda, Samveda and Atharvaveda are the most important sources for the study of the Aryans in the later Vedic period. Yajurveda is a collection of hymns with description of rituals. The hymns are accompanied by rituals in the Yajurveda. There are two parts of Yajurveda, Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda. Samveda is also a collection of hymns, but most of the hymns had been taken from the Rig Veda, but it's also a significant source for the study of the later Vedic period. Next is the Atharvaveda. Atharvaveda describes about spells and charms to ward off evils and diseases. The effect of non-Aryans can be experienced from the Atharvaveda, but the Atharvaveda is also a significant source for the study of the later Vedic period. These Vedas are also called Samhitas, such as Rig Veda Samhita, Yajurveda Samhita, Samveda Samhita and Atharvaveda Samhita, because these Vedas are collection of hymns. That's why these Vedas are also called Samhitas. Vedas are followed by Brahmanas. Brahmanas had been written after all the four Vedas. Brahmanas are critique of Vedas, and these Brahmanas also very significant sources for the study of later Vedic period. We find various Brahmanas such as Aitareya Brahmana, Satpath Brahmana, Panchvish Brahmana, etc. Upanishads are also significant sources for the study of later Vedic period. These are the philosophical writings. These are the philosophical writings of the people of later Vedic period. In Upanishads, the people of later Vedic period had described about their thinking about their philosophy of life. These books are explanations about soul and God. I mean to say Atma and Paramatma in Hindi. These Upanishads are descriptions of soul and God and many other things. The short-lived nature of world too. These are the explanations of these philosophical things, but these present significant source for the study of later Vedic period. As far as Aranyakas are concerned, these books had been written in jungle or forest, but they present significant source for the study of later Vedic period. Upanishads had been written at the feet of the guru or at the feet of the teacher. That's why these books are called Upanishads. The meaning of Upanishada is at the feet of the teacher. Generally, the pupils used to study at the feet of the teacher. That's why the writings had been conducted at the feet of the guru or at the feet of the teacher. That's why these writings were called Upanishada. These sources present a complete picture of the life of the Aryans in the later Vedic period. The life of the Aryans in the later Vedic period was somewhat different from the life of the Aryans in the Rig Vedic period. In this period, the life of Aryans was somewhat permanent. In the Rig Vedic period, we studied that the life of Aryans was not permanent. They were pastoralists. Their economy was a pastoral economy, and they used to move here and there with their cattle, and they were living a type of tribal life. That's why their life was not permanent. They used to move here and there with their cattle and other animals. Their life was completely dependent upon their cattle and their other animals. But in this period, we would see that the life of Aryans became somewhat permanent, and they started a systematic life. They started a systematic permanent life in the later Vedic period. The reason for the settlement of the Aryans in the later Vedic period was the Upper Ganga region. In the Upper Ganga region, the main areas were the areas of Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and western Uttar Pradesh. We find the painted grey ware pottery in this region, which is related with the life of Aryans. We have excavated so many sites from where we have found the painted grey ware pottery, which was related to the life of the Aryans in the later Vedic period. In the later Vedic period, we find evidences of various tribes such as Kuru, Panchal, Puru, etc. Kuru was a significant tribe in the later Vedic period. The Kuru came into existence after the combination of Bharata and Purus tribe. After the combination of Bharata tribe and Purus tribe, Kuru tribe came into existence. Kuru tribe was a significant tribe in the later Vedic period, and we find evidences of Kuru tribe in Mahabharata, which is a great epic in India, Mahabharata. We find evidence of the battle Bharata, which is the theme of Mahabharata, and this battle happened between Kaurava and Pandava, and both were the members of Kuru tribe. But this battle was so dangerous that it wiped out the Kuru tribe. The main reason of Kuru tribe was called Kurukshetra. That was the region of Haryana, especially Haryana region near Delhi, Haryana region, and this great battle wiped out the whole Kuru tribe, and we find evidences of this great battle in later Vedic period. Although the Mahabharata had been written in 4th century AD, that's why we don't find the correct or the exact description of lifestyle of the Aryans in the later Vedic period. In Mahabharata, we don't find the exact explanation or exact description of the life of Aryans in the later Vedic period in Mahabharata, as this great epic was written in 4th century AD. That is not related to the period of later Vedic period. That's why we can say that in the later Vedic period, the life of Kuru tribe was not like the lifestyle or the life that has been described in the Mahabharata. The Kuru tribe and Panchal tribe combined themselves together, and this tribe and the tribe was called Kuru Panchal tribe, and the region was also the region of Panchal tribe was near Farrukhabad, Badaयूं and Bareilly. We find evidences of Brahmanas, theologians from the Panchal region, and this was also a significant tribe in the later Vedic period. Now we will study about the settlement of the people of later Vedic period. As far as the settlement of the people of the later Vedic period is concerned, now the life of the the life of the Aryans in the later Vedic period had become permanent. They started living in mud brick houses, and they started exercising permanent economic activities. That's why we find permanent settlements in the later Vedic period. We find settlements, as I explained earlier, in Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Western Uttar Pradesh, especially in the upper Gangetic region. Although we find evidence of Nagara, we find the mention of Nagara in the later Vedic period, but we don't find a systematic development of town in the later Vedic period. It was an initial stage of town development or city development or town development in the later Vedic period. We find very few evidences of town in the later Vedic period, such as Hastinapur, which was near Meerut, and Kaushambi, which was near Allahabad. We find very few evidences of town such as Hastinapur and Kaushambi. Hastinapur was situated near Meerut region, and Kaushambi was situated near Allahabad. But we don't find systematic development of towns in this period. The man had not started a systematic town life in this period. That's why it was the period of initial stage for the development of town. Now we would study about the economic life of the Aryans in the later Vedic period. As I told you, in the later Vedic period, the life of Aryans was dependent upon agriculture. We find descriptions of agriculture in the later Vedic period. We find various evidences of plowing, sowing and irrigation in the later Vedic period. We find evidences of 2, 4, 6, 12 and 24 oxen yoked to the plow, but this is an exaggeration. It's not possible in practical life. It's an exaggeration. Moreover, the Aryans were acquainted with the crops such as rice, wheat, barley, etc. And they had started systematic farming in the later Vedic period, and we also find domestication of animals in the later Vedic period too. The Aryans domesticated various animals such as cow, bull, horse, etc. Horse played significant role in the life of the Aryans in the later Vedic period. The horse-drawn chariots were used in war in the later Vedic period. That played significant role for the expansion of the area or territory of the Aryans in the later Vedic period. Due to the use of horse-drawn chariots, the Aryans defeated their enemies easily and they expanded their territory easily. They also used iron-made weapons in wars. That's why iron also played significant role in the life of the people in the later Vedic age, and with the use of weapons made of iron, they could defeat their enemies easily. Moreover, they used tools made of iron for removing or clearing forest for the development of agriculture. That's why these two things, I mean to say iron and horse-drawn chariots, played significant role in the life of the Aryans in the later Vedic age. Moreover, the people in the later Vedic age were also acquainted with various arts and crafts. They were acquainted with weaving, carpenting, and many more things. They also knew about weaving, and they also knew various leather works. They also knew making chariots. As I told you, chariot played significant role in the life of the Aryans in the later Vedic age, and that's why we can imagine that arts and crafts played significant role in the life of Aryans. And the life of Aryans was not dependent much on these arts and crafts. They also knew some trade and commerce, but they were not dependent upon trade and commerce largely. Thank you so much.